everybody. Welcome to this fun online print and sip class. I am so happy to be with you tonight. Before we all get going, I thought it would be great to acknowledge all the folks at LPCA who've been working so hard to put all these online workshops together. So a big round of applause for James and Tara and John. Thank you so much. So like James said, my name is Ingrid Van Slyke. I am an artist and we're actually working here in my studio right now. I'm also a high school art teacher and I'm also a graduate student as we speak. So I thought we'd get started. So a little idea of where I got this, this idea from. It came to me because right now I have online students, my high school students, who I had to give assignments to, and they didn't have the supplies that they needed for printing at home. So we came up with really creative ideas to print at home with things that you might already have. So that's how this class got started. The idea was things that you have at home that we can make some really nice prints with. So tonight we're going to be making some note cards. We can print on anything really. You could print on these little bags, little gift bags. You could just print on paper if you don't have note cards. It's okay. And I didn't have note cards at home either, so I just took some paper, a little bit thicker, and made my own. I happen to have some envelopes. So I cut the note cards in the same size as the envelopes. Pretty easy, all right? So let's talk about some things that will help you get through this kind of fun print and sip tonight. And if you don't have what I have here, that's okay. Just let us know and maybe we can all brainstorm some ideas for you. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the foam. So in the list of supplies, this is a meat tray. I got it a while ago at Price Chopper, just the kind of meat tray that the meat comes on. But you can also use a foam paper plate. It's important that it's foam, not just a regular paper plate. Okay, so you need one of these or two of them, doesn't matter. You need a pair of scissors. You're going to need some pencils, and the pencils should be not very sharp. They should have kind of a dull tip to them. Okay, it doesn't matter what kind of pencil, just make sure that it's not very sharp. You're going to need some paint. It doesn't matter what kind of paint. I've got all sorts of different paints here from different manufacturers. You could even use house paint. It doesn't really matter, whatever you have. The one thing I did find is that the thicker the paint, that it tends to work a little bit better. Okay. And then we also need, now I'm going to show you what's called a brayer. This is a roller. So when you're actually doing a print, you put your ink on a flat surface and you roll it with this to put it on your plate. Well, most of us don't have these at home. So what could we use instead? Something that's round. I'm going to be using a little foam, a foam roller that I have, but this is what I'm using. But you could also use, my goodness, you could use this round tube of paint. You could use a rolling pin, although my husband would not want me to use this. You could wrap it in plastic wrap if you don't want to ruin the rolling pin. Or it's acrylic paint, you can wash it off anyways. You could even use some paper towel rollers. You may want to put some beans or something in it so it doesn't compress. And I've also found that the rollers that come like in aluminum foil, they're a little bit thicker and a little bit heavier, so they would also work as a brayer. I even had a bottle of shampoo. It's round, would work it, you could roll it that way too. So any of those that you've got at home will work. Okay, so in addition to those items, you're going to need to cover your surface. So I put some newspaper down, and then I've got, you know, I don't have water in my studio, but I've got a place to wash my hands and everything too. And you're going to need, you can use one of these flat plates to put your paint on to roll it. Okay, any questions so far? Has everyone got kind of what they need? Do you want to let me know, anybody? We're good? I can't hear anybody, so hopefully that means you're good. Okay, so let's get started. So I know Tara sent you an email that had some images on it, and none of those have to be used, but you can use an image that's printed out, or you can completely freehand this and draw whatever you want. It doesn't matter tonight. We're just having fun. So this is the one that I picked. It was simple, and I figured it was a good theme for this evening. All right. So the first thing you want to do is think about what you may want to put on your note card or your paper. And just a quick sidetrack here, I wanted to show you something. that I also have my camera I can move it. So at some point I'm going to move the camera down so you can see what I'm actually doing. But this is a foam plate, and I drew on it this image. It's boats. And then this is the result of just a simple foam plate from home. So it's amazing what you can do with the little supplies that you have. All right. Okay. So everybody good to go? James, are you letting me know if anybody has a question?
I'm watching the chat, and we'll just remind everyone that if you want to throw out a question, just unmute yourself on your device and mute it back when you're done, or you can throw it in chat and we'll share that with Ingrid as we go, so we can all communicate.
All right, so now I'm going to move my camera down so you can see my hands. All right, so I'm still here. You're just seeing what I'm working on. So let's do this first. You're going to take your foam tray or your paper plate. In either case, I'm going to use both to show you what they look like. And you're going to cut it to size. Now, I might cut it so that it is the same size as my envelope or a little bit larger. This logo tends to be a little bit larger than my print or my note card. So I'm going to cut it a little bit larger. Might as well cut it straight here. Okay. And then I might as well cut my foam tray also. You can make a number of these. We don't have to do just one tonight. You can do a whole bunch. And well, depending on how much time we've got, and I've got two other ways of printing from objects at home too that I thought would be fun to show you. So I'm just cutting off the rounded edges of the foam plate so that it's just a square. Okay, and the same thing with this one. So two of those. Okay, so now I just want to talk to you briefly about images. All right, so here's just an example of what we call positive and negative images. Okay, so in printmaking, this is really kind of something to keep thinking about when you're doing your print. Now let's pretend that the black here would be the color of your paint, and the white would be the color of the paper. Okay. This is the color of your paint. Pretend, let's say it's pink or whatever, or black paint. We'll go with that. This is the color of your paper, the white. In order to get a print that looks like this, that has a black background, all you would need to do is, in printing, you would carve out these little areas of white. So you're recessing them, you're pushing them down into the linoleum, or in our case, the foam. And everything that's not pressed down, this area here, is raised up, and that's where the ink catches, and that's where the print comes out, okay? Now, if we do it the opposite way, over here, this is a little bit trickier. This would mean that we would have to get rid of all the white area and only keep the black area raised, okay? So this side is a lot more work to do. You'd have to really, go through all, which is fine, absolutely fine. So it's kind of in your mind when you have an image and you have an idea what it's going to look like, you have to think in positive and negative terms so that it comes out like you want. All right. So with that said, I'm going to show you how to transfer an image onto the foam. And like I said before, you can definitely freehand anything you want. If you've got a stack of foam plates, my goodness, go for it. Draw flowers, anything you want will work, okay? But if you want to use an image, I'm going to show you a couple different ways to go about doing that. So let's start with the white first, okay? So one way of doing it is to take your image, putting it right on top of your foam, taking your pencil. Remember, your pencil should have, could be kind of dull. I've got a bunch of different ones here. Nothing too sharp because you don't want it to go pierce through the paper, okay? And all you're going to do is gently, I'm going to put my glasses on here so I can see what I'm doing. You're going to press down right on top of your logo. your image. And what you're doing is you're making an indentation in the foam. All right. So you're going to do that. You're going to do it with both sides, both images.
Hey, Ingrid, we have a question. If they don't have styrofoam, what would be another alternative?
You have, well, I'm sure they probably don't have an actual linoleum block. In printing, this is what the printers are using. I don't know if you have anything linoleum. You could use wood. For this evening, though, I'm not quite sure what we could do without the foam. Does anybody else out there have an idea what you could do with not having the foam base? Does anybody else not have foam? Anybody? James, have you heard yet?
We have a suggestion of thick cardboard or, oh, update, they found a foam egg carton.
All right, that'll work. You know what? We could do that. You could get a foam egg carton, and then we could cut small pieces out and do stamp printing. So that'll work. Let me work on this, and then we can figure out how to help her too.
Perfect. We have another suggestion, which is a takeout food container.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. All right. So you'll find that your image is lightly transferred, very, very light. Okay. So then what you do is you go back over your image, and I'm going to put my camera down more so you can see it. And you're pushing down harder this time. Same lines, your same outline. I really like that takeout food container idea. So you're just repeating the lines that you drew.
And we're going to tell Amy Quinn to be careful as she cuts into her rubber eraser.
Oh, is she using an eraser to print?
She is.
That's a really great idea. Yes, you know what else? I should have thought of this too. You can also use sponges that I was going to get to a little bit later. We're going to talk about printing with sponges and printing with potatoes. So if you don't have foam, we'll be able to do something. Look for a potato or a sponge in your kitchen.
Ingrid, we have a question. Are they doing just the outline of the image or the inside as well?
Well, right now I'm just doing the outline, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay. Which I've already done one of these. Okay. So I'm just showing you how I transferred the image. Simple image, okay? So I've already done one of these, and it has paint on it already. I used a brown paint. So when I rolled it, that's kind of what it looked like. So now let me show you how to do this part. So you've gone ahead and outlined your image. And now I have a tray with some paint on it. This is a little bit thicker. I'm using this acrylic paint. I'm going to roll it. And then I'm going to roll it on my foam. This is where you need a workspace that's put some paper down, some newspaper or whatever you got. So you're going to roll your paint on there. Then I'm going to go back over and clean up my lines just a little bit more in case any paint got through. Can you see okay? Come back over it. And then pull some more out here. And I printed this one already. This is what it looks like. But I'm going to show you how to print this now. So after you clean it up, I'm going to try printing this one on a bag. Actually, no, on paper. You put your print down first, and you put your paper on top. And then you're going to press firmly and holding it so that your paper doesn't shift while you're rubbing the back of it to put the paint logo on your paper, your print. So you want to make sure you get all the little areas. And lots of times you'll find in printing is a mysterious thing. You don't quite never know what you're going to get. So by having extra paper, you can take your little plate that you just made for a little test before you actually put it on your note cards and see how much paint you're going to need and see what that looks like. So I'm going to rub it, and then I'm going to pull it up. And that's my print. All right. So that's one way of transferring an image. Another way to transfer the same image is to simply draw again on your image with a pencil, the whole thing, flip it over, and then you can rub the back. And that will also transfer through. Now this one I've used a few times, so it may not be very strong when I flip it over, but you could use either one, either way of doing it. Does everyone understand that?
Could you say that again?
Sure. So another way of transferring an image, so I showed you the first way, where you actually take the image, you put it on your foam, and you push down hard to transfer it into the foam, okay? The other way is just simply drawing on your image with a pencil, okay? So you've got the whole outline, then you turn it over onto your foam, and you rub the entire background with that same pencil. And that will, the pencil that you wrote on this side will transfer onto your foam like this. Okay, and then once again, you would go back over your lines. Okay, now this is the darker foam, the same image. The darker foam I found tended to work a little bit better because it's a little bit thicker, and it gave me this image here. And again, if I play a little bit more with my paint, and maybe I try some different rollers, maybe this one wasn't quite working up to what it needed to be, maybe I try something else. So does that enough information right now to get everybody started? Anybody have ideas of what you're going to put on your note cards? And you could get a lot more detailed. This I just went simple for the sake of the demonstration, but as I showed you before, this one was quite detailed. Now keep in mind, remember what you don't want to have, what you want to have white, you have to push it down. What you want to have ink on that you actually see, that stays up higher, all right? So for instance, this was water, and these were marks that I made with a pencil, pushing that styrofoam down, and they actually came out kind of neat. This is the result of what that looks like. So what I pushed down became like the white background, and what I left untouched became the higher surface that the paint was on. Do you understand that? Anybody? All right. So does everybody have the foam or found some type of foam that you can use? And you can start on your note cards now. And then I believe there was one person that didn't have foam, and we can talk too. Would you like me to go ahead and show you the other ways of printing?
So guys, I'm going to turn everyone's mics on that has the ability, just so Ingrid can get a little bit of feedback here on if you want to work for a bit or if we want to see the other ways of printing. So here we go. I'm going to unmute everyone.
Put this on the paper.
Ingrid, you're good.
We're muted.
Can you mute this? Yeah.
I was just saying that we need to come up, we need to make a technology program. Like, we need to see someone in charge.
Right, so now I just do
Good
it.
with working with this right now.
And they circulating and stuff. I was like, okay, but we could just as easy.
All right, so that was not super successful on the on the unmute, but you know, we learn things virtually all the time. So if you have I'm gonna Ingrid, if you'll unmute yourself, because I muted you too. But if you have any questions for Ingrid, use that type where you can unmute yourself one at a time and just sorry, I guess we thought we'd try it and see if we could leave it open, but I think the sound feedback is a little too much for that.
I know there's one person that asked me to try the potato. So I'm going to go ahead and do that while everybody else gets started thinking about an image, or that, like I said, you're more than welcome to draw anything you want on the foam. Remember to push down, not too hard so that you don't go through the foam to the table. Okay, you're just trying to put a little bit of decrease in there. So let's get you started doing your own little projects, and I would love to see where you're working on, what your results are. Also keep in mind that you can do some watercolor too on here before you even print. And then we can talk about the other way. So I showed you one way where we just did the outline. Now, if you wanted to make a change to this, I can show you that as well next. Right now, I'll help the woman with the potato. Does that sound all right, James?
Sounds great, Ingrid.
All right. Okay, so if you've got a potato, this is kind of free form too. So what I did with this is I made some cute little prints. All right, so this I'm actually going to print on my note card. So all I did, I'm going to move my camera down here for you. Very carefully, think about maybe some little flower design. You don't have to cut too deeply. Watch your fingers. And you can use just sections of this potato to make a whole bunch of different ones. You don't have to cut really deeply. I think you can also use apples if you have any apples. And then there's all sorts of vegetables that make some really nice prints that you don't have to cut. Like if you had a green pepper and you just cut it like you normally would and then dip that in paint, that makes some nice shapes as well. Okay, you're going to want to kind of dry it out a little bit. Now I'm going to use some different color paint with this. Let's try some pink because it looks like flowers. And you can use more than one color if you wanted to. Got a little bit of green. Both of these paints are a little bit thinner. And as I said before, sometimes the thicker paints work a little bit better. Now there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can roll the paint on here, or you can simply just press it in, press your potato in too. Let's add a little bit more so I can do that. All right, ready? So I put some different colors on this one. Now it may be too much. I may want to take a little bit off before I go ahead and press it. Here's my note card. Just some cute little prints. And then what you could do is you could take some ink and make some vines, all right, for that little note card. Did that help the woman that was interested with the potato? Are you able to do that? And then we can also, I can show you how to print with a sponge. So this was a longer sponge. This was the other side of it. And this sponge here is dried up. I cut it when it was a little bit wetter, but that was the size. I made a 3-inch square with it. Okay, you can use a rectangle, doesn't really matter. And it's the same kind of thing. You're just gonna dip it into your paint. Oh, let me teach you how to do this. So the way I cut this was, when it was a little bit wetter, you're able to fold it a little bit. Okay, and then I simply cut some grooves in it. Again, it's just like what you're doing with the foam. You're trying to recess the area that you don't want to have ink on, all right? Be careful with this. Sometimes when they're a little bit drier, you can also use a knife to cut as well, okay? So that's my design. The multicolored one. Right, let's get a little note card. Same thing, you could press it down. I might press it, turn it this way so that I can get a little bit more pressure on it. You have a little design. So that was with the potato and the sponge. So how's everyone doing out there? How are your foam printing plates coming along? Any feedback? Anybody having trouble, or you've come up with some interesting designs? Can you want to show them? You want to show us what you're working on?
So Ingrid, I'm going to turn your spotlight off so that we can go back to gallery view.
Okay, great.
And if you want to go back to gallery view, then you can see everyone as they work.
Let's see what we've got, everybody.
Ingrid, we have a question that says, we just pressed the foam plate on the
Gallery view.
on the pan that we've outlined.
Okay, so have her show me what she's got. Let me see what you've got out there.
So this is Joanne.
Hi, Joanne.
You got her, Ingrid? I see her.
I don't see her. Is
I'm
that,
gonna-
hi, Joanne.
Joanne, I'm going to spotlight you, so you're going to get big.
Hi, Joanne. Okay, she needs to unmute.
Yeah, I don't have any interesting colors. This is all the colors I
So
got.
I outlined this,
Okay.
and then I press that onto the paint and roll it.
No. So did you transfer your image to the foam yet?
Yes,
Okay. So and you took your pencil and went over your flowers again.
yes,
Okay. So now what you're going to do is, do you have a roller? Some type of roller.
yes.
Okay. So what you have to do is you have to figure out, you have to take your, let me get this potato out of here. You have to take that roller. And can you still, I'm going to put my camera.
Oh,
You
and
can,
put the paint on the roller.
yes. So you're going to roll it in there. Good. Make sure you got, there you go. Make sure you got enough paint. And then you're going to take your foam and you're going to roll the paint on your foam. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yes.
All right, let's see what you got. That's a great idea for a roller. Ooh, it's working. Very nice. Make sure you get all your edges. Do the whole thing.
Okay.
There you go. And then go back when you're done with that and clean up some of those floral lines. Can you still see your lines?
Not so great.
See if you can go back in with a pencil.
Okay.
Do you think maybe there's too much paint on there for now?
Yes.
Okay. You know, you can always take a paper towel and wipe some of that paint off to try to find those lines again.
Okay.
And then let me know how that works.
All right.
And then there's Betty. Betty, how are you doing? I can't hear her, James.
Hang on, Betty, let me get to you real
Okay.
quick.
Can you hear me now?
Hi, Betty.
Hi. I'm okay. So far, we have this.
Very nice.
And then I did my butterfly. I copied that.
It's beautiful.
I would go back another time and put in little lines where the wings are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very nice. What are you using as a roller to roll your paint onto your foam?
This one.
Oh, that's nice. Okay. Okay. Good.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Yep.
Well, anyway, I'm having a good time here. I've got to work on my potato now.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. That's great. Have you got enough paper to print on?
I think so. I have a whole thing of these
Perfect. Oh, that's perfect.
because I'll go through a lot of them, I'm sure.
And this is a good beginning. You know, once you get an idea how to do it, then you can really take it from there, right?
What I wanted to do was do a tree, print.
Yes.
But I want lots of trees and maybe a pond or something with water in it.
Yes. Very nice. Yeah. And just think about whether you want those images that you see to be outlines of things, or do you want them to be actual shapes? Like the trees, do you want them to be a shape or to be an outline of something?
Well, let's see. If I want the shape to show,
So you
then it has to be white. No, it has to be the color.
it could be
I
either.
don't have any green or anything like that.
That's okay. You could make.
It wouldn't matter.
You could make the trees. You could draw an outline of your trees, and then take your pencil and fill in all the trees so that you're pushing all the inside of the trees down.
Oh,
That would make your tree white. And so everything around it would be dark, but your tree would be a single white tree.
thank you. Thank you. I'll try that. Thank you.
Give it a try. Nice to meet you, Betty. Anybody else, James? Joanne, how are you coming along? Is that working better?
James, I have a question.
Hi.
Hey, Barbara.
Hi, Barbara.
How am I doing this now with this computer? I click on me so you can see it?
Perfect.
Nope, you just talk to us. You're all good.
Oh, I'm good. Okay. Well, this was my design.
Beautiful.
And then, but when I printed it, I think it was my roller because, I don't know, it didn't come out right.
It's your roller. Yep.
My
So-
roller is just this little one.
Okay.
So I should probably use a rolling pin.
If you have a rolling pin, one thing I noticed on that, let me see your roller again. Bring that back. Is it smooth or is there something on it that makes it edgy?
Yeah, the paint was old, so there's some dry specks.
Okay.
I can see them now. There's dry specks from the paint.
Yep. The dry specks on your roller is what's causing those lines to look like that.
Oh, okay.
The roller should be smooth.
So if I took those, clean the roller?
Yeah.
The other thing I was wondering, because I couldn't see it, is if I went over that with, like you said, watercolor or something,
Sure.
could I go inside those lines with watercolor?
Good. You could definitely do that. Absolutely.
There's nothing I can do with this, with that now, except try a different roller.
That's right. Are you able to clean that roller so you get the paints off of it? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, give that a try and see if that'll work. Do you have enough paper to try a few different times?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I have a piece.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
But Barbara, I kind of like it like it is too.
All spacey?
I like it spacey.
I do too. It's artsy. It's freeform. It's awesome.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sure.
Anybody else? Let's see.
Ingrid, Amy's holding something up for you.
All right, I don't see Amy.
Here, let me get her big. There we go.
Amy? All right, woo! How did you make that? No way. What is that? An eraser. Look at you. That's gorgeous. Love it. Can
Amy,
you hear me? Very nice.
Hi,
Hi. I love that.
thanks. I tried another pattern that was a big fail,
Yeah,
but this one isn't. And then I did also the potato.
oh, that's precious. I love the color mixing you've got going on there too.
Thanks.
Very nice. Nice.
Amy, how many stitches? Keep it that way.
How many prints are you going to make, Amy?
Well, I have a whole box of stationery,
Perfect.
so I could go on all night. Other than my next art project is going to be to color my hair.
I know. I
Can
know.
we have an LPCA class on that?
Yeah, that would be a good one. I think
We
we're
could
all,
probably. I don't know that one would be free.
Yeah, I hear ya.
Has anybody else out there tried the potato or the sponge yet?
Amy, we have Ingrid. We have Elizabeth. Let me spotlight her for you. There we go.
Elizabeth? We've got two people here. We've got Elizabeth and who else?
Yeah, the kid is Elizabeth. I'm Karen.
All right.
I try potato.
Very nice. Let me see what it looks like. Oh, beautiful. Love those. It looks like a flower garden.
What are you doing? You want to show yours? No, not yet.
Are you making another? Are you making something too?
I'm making a print
You
Oh.
are? Can we see it?
of a bunny.
Of a bunny.
Oh, lovely. Lovely. Are you going to be able to show it to us?
Maybe.
Okay. Would love to see it. Love to see it. You can also, with the potatoes, you can also do a neat spiral design too. You can cut off layers of it, like do a few different ones. So here was the flower, and then I could do another one with a different layer of maybe a spiral, and then cut that off and do a whole nother one too.
Okay.
All right. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Welcome. I want to see your prints when you're done. James, have we got anyone else? It's awful quiet out there.
We only have someone seconding a hair color class right now.
Oh. How about Janet? How is Janet doing out there? Janet, are you gonna show up here? All right, you gotta unmute though. Now we got a professional.
Okay, can you hear me?
Ben, how's it going?
Going fine. I'm rolling on a cup, a styrofoam cup. I dug into it, and so now I'm rolling that cup as it's an engraved roller.
Oh, neat.
And when I get,
Doing like a monotype on the cup kind of thing?
yeah, well, I did what you said. I carved into it, but we do this sometimes in printmaking where we roll, we do some kind of design on the actual roller, and then you just roll it, and it's going to make a long band.
Do you think we could see that when you're done? Because I'm sure a lot of people have cups.
Try. I'm playing around, but yes, I will show you whatever marks I get out of it. Yeah, because
All
I'm
right.
experimenting with some new interference acrylic paints too, and they do a reflective thing. So I will share it.
All right. Neat.
I have a question.
Sure. Who's
On my potato,
that?
only part of the image came out.
Let me see.
Sure what I'm supposed to be doing.
So Betty, what you can do, let me put this on so you can see my hands.
Okay.
Okay, so do you see how deeply I cut out, and I cut like grooves out of it?
Oh, way deeper than my pencil.
Yes, deeper than your pencil.
Okay.
There, does
Okay.
that look better?
Yeah, now I yeah, I get that now.
Now you can, I just did like a floral one, but you could do all sorts of different cutouts in your
Yeah.
potato too. I'll do a circular one and show everybody as well.
Okay.
Does that help? So you can slice off the potato where where you printed, and then you'll have a whole new side of it.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay. How about your foam? Is everybody working on your foam ones okay? Is that working out? I'm going to go ahead and do some more on the ones that I showed you. First we did the outline one. And now I'm going to go ahead and take some of this interior space out to show you what will happen, okay? So just with the pencil, I'm going to it's almost like you're carving with the pencil. I'm going to push down and take some of this out. So can anybody tell me, once I take this interior part of the bottle out, what color it will be when I print it? Does anybody know?
The color of your paper.
Exactly. Exactly. Can you use different color paper when you print? Anybody?
Yes.
Sometimes it's fun to print on other things like maps or music sheets or newspapers. You could even take those old encyclopedias out and pull out a page. Let's say there's a page that has to do with bumblebees. And then you do a print plate with a bumblebee, and then you could print it right on top of that encyclopedia page. They come out really nicely. So it's like a full kind of artist statement there. So I'm still working on pushing this down, kind of like taking it out. Going back and forth, removing it. Is everybody out there having fun? Okay, so let's see if I got that down enough. There's still some areas that are pushed up. Work a little bit harder. This might have some texture because I feel some resistance coming up. Try the other end of my pencil, really pushing it down. I find that when we don't have all the exact tools that we need, I think you can be even more creative when we're in this situation. It really makes you think of other things that you can use for art. I even have had some students start painting with household things like beets and paprika and food coloring, because they didn't have watercolors, and the watercolors that they made at home turned out beautifully. Okay, so let me roll this one. We need a little more paint. Now I see texture in this bottle, so that tells me that it didn't completely all go down, but that's okay. We'll see how it comes out. Maybe something like a tree would look good with that kind of texture in it. I'm just going to push it down a little bit more. Has anyone here ever painted with household supplies like beets or food coloring? That would be fun to know. Just cleaning up my lines again. Okay, let's give this a whirl. I'll try it on a note card this time. I have to have a clean area. I've got one more question for you. If you wanted to write a word when you're printing, how do you think you would be able to manage that so it comes out the way that you wanted it to be? Anybody know the answer out there? If you wanted to write thank you or love on your card, how would you have to do that in order for it to be the right way?
Put it in the mirror?
Yeah, you'd have to write it backwards.
Oh, yeah, I have to show you. It kind of came out a little better.
Okay, so here's my bottle. I pressed down a little bit more. And because I pushed in, it became white like the paper. So whatever you push down becomes that. Somebody was asking about that earlier too. So the more you recess it, your paper shows up too, okay?
I think this print turned out better. This is the third one.
This Betty, let's see, Betty.
Oh, it's Betty, yeah, go ahead.
What do you got? Let's see it. I'd love to see it.
Barb? This one?
Oh, it's Barb. Okay. Oh, that's gorgeous.
It's getting better. It's still not quite wall printed, but
I love how you used two colors and kind of gradiated them down. That's gorgeous.
yeah, it's getting there. Thank you. I'm gonna try another one.
Yeah. You having fun?
Absolutely.
Good.
Hey, Ingrid, let's turn it over to Tara for just a couple of minutes, and then we'll come back to the main screen so you guys can keep working.
Okay, thank you. Hi, Tara.
Hi guys, how's everybody doing? I am so loving all of the work you're doing. Everything looks fantastic. Just real quick, I want to thank Ingrid again so much for being here and doing this for us. If you're having fun with Ingrid tonight, next Thursday night, Ingrid will be leading one of our intensive classes. It's going to be a 2-hour pastels class on winter landscapes. So please keep your eye posted on your email. I'll be sending out more information about that tomorrow. Next up in our free Quarantini Paint and Sip series, next Tuesday, we will be hosting Patricia Belrose, and she will be doing a still life in oil. So again, stay tuned, check your email. I'll be sending out info on that really soon. And then this Thursday, Sarah Yeoman is doing a 2-hour intensive watercolors workshop. Next Friday, Emily Brown is going to be doing a line dance family fun night. So check on that as well. I will be in touch with everybody. Please feel free to reach out to me anytime if you have any questions, comments, if there's anything you want to see or anything you want to do. Let's keep this going, and everybody keep making art and having a fantastic time. Thank you again for being here, everyone, and I'm going to shoot it back over to Ingrid. Thank you.
Thank you, Tara. Thank you. All right, I know it looks like we've got 34 people that are participating. I would love to see what you're making. Anybody else want to show us? Anybody
I'll
else?
show you, but mine's not very good because I didn't have a.
That's okay.
Ingrid, I'll show you Lisa. She's holding hers up. Let me spotlight that one.
Oh, Lisa, look at you. Woohoo! That's beautiful. That's very creative with the Easter eggs. Super. You got Todd? Is Todd gonna try? No? Ooh. Who is this? Missa? Did I pronounce that right? That's beautiful. I'd love to know how you got that. That's beautiful. Gorgeous. Thank you for sharing. Really nice. Oh, we got a landscape. Very nice. Nicely done. I'm not sure who that is. Do we know who that is, John or James?
We have iPad number 3. That's the that's their name.
I'm sorry, it's Harriet.
I love your landscape. That's really thinking out of the box.
This is last night.
Oh, lovely. Was it a full moon last night?
Full moon, beautiful.
Beautiful. Well, you
Hello,
captured.
I have to say hello to Amy Quinn.
Hi,
But I had
Harriet.
difficulty. I had difficulty because I'm using what do you call Speedball ink, and it was dry, and I hadn't planned on it being dry, so I added some blending medium, and that seemed to work.
Well, that's creative.
And the paper didn't work. My first attempts were very dry like that.
Oh my God, I actually love that.
Yeah, you sound like a painter. I mean, a printer. Yes, printers like these things.
I love the texture in that. Oh, that's beautiful.
So that's it. Yeah, it was watercolor paper.
Right.
So I'm going to try a two-tone this time.
Good. Very nice.
So I went to a sumi paper, a really light sumi paper, and I also had to wet them because it wouldn't accept it dry.
Okay. That's a good idea. That's good to know. And you're using ink though.
Yes, I'm using in fact, I think other people are too, because when I called to get more, Mark said they were all out of ink at Bookstore Plus. So, but it's very dry. You have to figure out a way to moisten it up and then to moisten your paper to get it up.
Yeah. Sometimes if it comes in a jar, you can stir it up a little bit more, but it's harder when it's in the tube.
Right.
Yep.
So I'm going to try printing this with two colors.
All right. Wonderful. Anybody else want to show us? Also think if you've got the potato, oh, whose is this? Gorgeous. I can't hear you though. Can you unmute your microphone? If not, that's okay.
Lauren, I got
Yes,
you.
I just didn't want to get paint on my computer.
So how did you make that? Did you make it with the
well, this is, I did exactly as you said, I just followed a pattern onto here. But it's weird. I like this, even though it didn't come out completely. But like some of my other ones are more, like there's just so much there.
Yep.
Yeah, or like this one, maybe too watery or something. I don't know.
Let me see your foam plate again. So the raised area is everything that's white, and the dark area is everything that you push down, correct? Okay, so if that were truly would come out, that would mean you could potentially make that a really dark print, and then all the lines that you did would just be like line drawing stuff too. Did you cover the whole surface with paint?
Yes.
Okay, and what kind of paint are you using?
Well, I have mostly like just this kind of stuff.
Yeah, yep, yep.
That seemed to work better than, like kids stuff.
Yeah, and the pearls, is that like pearlescent paint that you've got?
Seem to be, yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think what we're discovering is the thickness of the paint makes a difference. So make it a little bit thicker and cover the whole thing would give you an even tone.
Okay.
And make sure that one thing too is make sure you have your plate down flat, put your paper on top of your plate and really press, even if you have to do it for a while, sometimes people use a spoon, like the back of a spoon, and really burnish that too, just to get the paint to adhere to.
Okay.
All right.
Good Thank
job.
you.
Nice.
Thanks.
Lauren, I'll mute you so you don't have to worry about your computer.
Okay.
And for those that are working with a potato too, or a sponge, you can also make patterns, which is kind of fun to do. So here is a pattern that's just made with a sponge. And you can.
We have a question for you. Joanne requests that you go over the basic steps in cleaning up the lines after you've outlined the image in foam.
Sure. Okay. So let's go back again. I had my image. I had a pencil. Like I showed you 2 ways of transferring, pushing down or drawing and then turning it over. Okay. Let's say it's transferred. So here it's just lightly transferred. It's not pushed into the foam, but I can see that there's pencil on the foam. So now what I would do is go back over what I had transferred and push down into the foam. You don't want to push so hard that you go into the table, but you want to push hard enough so that your line is recessed. Does that make sense? So that it's indented. You're indenting into the foam. I got a line, got a little wacky here, but that's okay. And you're going to do that with all your lines. Printing is kind of an interesting art. A lot of times printers will make several prints before they get one that turns out exactly like they wanted it to. So be patient with yourselves. Take your time, try, experiment, have fun. It's a great space to be in when you're working on art. Sometimes it's single-mindedness, so that's all you're thinking about is how you're going to work out the problems that you've got in front of you here about your line and your design and your color. It's a good spot to be in. So here I've gotten my my lines. I pushed down a little bit more. All right, does that make sense? This is one that I already did, push down. So maybe this also you wanted to know that too. Let me get some more paint. I'm gonna roll it. So let's say you roll it on here. Sorry. Now I've got so much paint going on there that it almost goes into my lines that I already pushed down on. So I go back with a pencil and I just clean them up really gently. You're just taking the paint out that may have gotten into those lines that you don't want to have there. Gently just going back. I'm not trying to recess it more. I'm just trying to clean it up, the lines again. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay. Did that help, James? Did that help her?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Anyone else? We still have a lot of people out there making prints, it looks like. Who else we've got? Has anyone done this before, this printmaking before? I know there's a couple printmakers actually that are, or at least one I know is out there right now. Anybody else?
This is what happened when I didn't spell Easter backward. Okay.
That's really common though. Very, very common.
Live and learn.
I hope that, I thought I had said that, but I'm not sure that everyone heard that. If you're gonna write a word, have to write it, backwards. Do you have enough to try it again?
Sure, I've got another plate. I can make another.
Sure you could.
Make another one of these things.
Or you could even flip it over the one that you'd have already done, maybe use the other side.
Yeah.
So printmaking is really interesting. As long as you've got some paint, you could do all sorts of things. You could roll paint onto the bottom of your shoe and make a shoe imprint on something. You could go out and find some nature with pine cones or leaves and twigs and use those as print materials too. So you can really do a lot while you're home with all sorts of materials that are just everywhere that you are already. Nothing that you have to buy special. If you do want to buy some special, I'm going to show you a book that's pretty interesting if you're interested in printing. This is a nice little book.
Block prints.
Called Block Prints. And I'll put it down here. And it's got some really wonderful ideas in it for printmaking.
Huh, that's good.
Simple, beautiful little designs in there too, but it's good nuts and bolts and everything. And like I said, if you really enjoy this, if I can find my lino block, you can purchase some real, this is Dick Blick, it's called Dick Blick Ready Cut Plate. And this is like a real lino block. It's easy to cut, very easy to cut. You would also buy a carving tool and you can make nice clean lines in here. We're using the foam as opposed to using this. But if you're interested and you want to, go ahead and find some of this. It's also really, really fun to print with. Okay, does anybody have any questions about any of the other printing type of supplies that you might want to try? No?
Yes, I do.
Sure.
The sponge.
Yeah.
When I put the color on the sponge and dabbed it on my paper, there was nothing really unique about it.
Okay, let me see your sponge that you cut.
I don't know if I'm on the screen or not.
Okay, so your sponge, I used one of those, I think they're called cello.
It looks like this.
Yeah.
It's like a sea sponge.
Yes. So you'll notice the difference between the sponge that you used and the sponge that I have is that mine is really tight. It's like the type that you use in the kitchen.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
So it's an actual kitchen sponge. See, it's not a sea, one of those big sea sponges.
Right.
It's tighter.
Okay. Yeah, I have a kitchen sponge too. Okay.
And that way you can cut grooves into it. And like I said, I did it when I had first taken it out of the package because it's a little moist that way.
Yeah, it's softer.
Yeah, it's easier to cut. And what I did is I kind of just folded the sponge and then I took a scissors, watching your fingers, and cut a groove. And there you go. That just took out the line right there. And then so I did that in like this one in all different directions. I pushed it down this way, cut that out, cut this out, folded it to cut it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Okay.
The kitchen sponge.
Yeah, kitchen sponge.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I have one right here. Yeah, I got. Well, maybe my husband put it there for me. I don't know. But
You don't want to be using your only kitchen sponges right now.
Yeah.
When it's wet.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else have got questions, or do you have successes with your print so far, everybody? There's a lot of people still on there that haven't said anything. I'm wondering if they're nervous about showing us. We'd like to see them. Be brave. We have iPad 3, James, is she speaking?
My daughter is all the way in New Jersey, Jennifer Jennings. So if she wants to show hers.
Oh, that would be wonderful. I was wondering if people could tell us where they're from.
Yeah, she's in Jersey, but I saw her. She's online.
Okay.
Jennifer, so I'm going to hang up. Maybe if she wants to show it, I don't want to press her, but
I would love to see it. And then I think Janet wants to show us too, so that would be wonderful. Janet is a professional printer, so sorry to let you do that to you, Janet. Don't want to put you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ingrid. Janet said she's happy to show her experiment. I missed the chat.
Okay. Can she still show us? Is she able to show us? Oh, there she is.
Okay, wait, I have to unmute me. Hold on.
I got you. You're good, Janet.
So this is an experiment, and I'm gonna hold it up. I just want to get that file. It's where I rolled a cup, right, with the same pattern on it around the cup, and then I kept rolling it, but with different ink colors. So you get sort of bits of the same pattern, like Ingrid was talking about, negative and positive, making my own design. And then later, like, this is an experiment, and typically when I experiment, I'm gonna go back later, or I'm gonna let it sit and go, whatever that was. And then I might look at it with fresh eyes and draw into it or color into it if I like it, or I just learned from an experiment and in a better time I would embellish on it or take that to a next level on another print.
That's gorgeous, Janet. Gorgeous.
I know, and I had none of the things other than a styrofoam cup, Ingrid, so that was really kind of
unbelievable. It makes me think that, what about like taking the cup and wrapping it with cellophane or plastic wrap or aluminum foil, or maybe not aluminum foil, but something with texture, bubble wrap. Could you use that too, you think?
You know, my biggest issue here, because I was doing this on the fly, was rolling the cup. So I was just sticking my hand in it because I didn't pull out the other side. So where it gets mushy up here is where, look at my fingers, they're a mess.
Yeah.
It wasn't always rolling perfectly like it did right there or something.
Uh-huh.
But that's fine, because that becomes the next thing. And then I would have said, oh, I'll put something through it to roll it. Typically, if I were doing this in a print studio, I would have maybe painted right on the roller with handles, and then that's a non-issue. But it was fun. I didn't expect that.
It's gorgeous. Did you? So the floral is what you carved into the cup.
Yeah, just this is the cup. I mean, it's a regular cup.
Look at that. Can everybody see that?
I cut off the top because that was extended and I knew that would block this area. So and this part's recessed. So, but that seemed to press okay. And then I just went around in a quick circle, made a couple of quick designs. And then each time I painted it with a different color. And if it was too watery, it didn't come out as well. And then, like you said, if I were thicker with the paint, it came out. So, you know, this I left on, and I was just going like this, which was stupid. I should have cut it out, but I was doing this on the fly. But you can do that, not just roll.
Very neat. Really good. It's amazing what you can do with such little supplies, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. And then a lot of times, you know, as an artist, experiments and make some of the most fun, and later you get something else out of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Woo, good job. I can see Lisa Risberger still at it. What do you got, Lisa? James, can you put her on full screen? Oh, you got is that the bunny? Oh, those are lovely. Lovely, really nice. Oh, now you've got a lot of cards to send.
Good. Ingrid, it looks like we are just about out of time, so let me just reiterate a thank you to Ingrid for her time this evening, and a thank you to everyone for joining us for our print and sip. We've had so much fun with you, and we want to say thank you, and we'll leave the room open if you want to chat with Ingrid or stick around for a few minutes. Just make sure you, since I'm not monitoring it, make sure you turn your mic on so Ingrid can hear you. Otherwise, we'll leave the room open for you guys to chat as much as you want, and have a good evening.
Thank you, James. Thank you, John and Tara. Thank you very much, LPCA, for working so hard for us. We appreciate it.